Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches, and as always, what an incredible drop we have for you this week. I'm super excited to bring you this. We have from vintage new old stock Zenith all the way up to a Resence and some fears and everything in between you could possibly imagine. This is variety. This is exactly what we aim to bring here at Gibble Watches, and as I say every single week, I feel like we're getting more and more towards that. And it's getting to the point where people are really starting to notice the variety that we're bringing, and they're starting to say, you know what, it's doable. Because before, when I first started this and I explained what I wanted to achieve here at Gibble Watches, often, especially watch dealers, would look at it and just say, it's not going to work. You know, people want specific and they want that sort of wide range within that niche of just Rolex, just Omega, whatever it may be. So it feels good to have proven that this can work. And also there's many people out there now changing things up and going more to variety, so it's good to see. But anyway, if you want to skip to specific watches you see here on the table, down in the description there is timestamps to skip to that specific watch. There's also a link to head to the website and see each watch in closer detail and also be able to purchase it. We are recording this video straight after last week's drop because the week just gone I've been away, so therefore I wanted to get this ready for you guys and girls. So I apologise if some of the watches here have actually sold before we even got to the drop, but either way you get to see them close up, which is kind of the fun part. You may recognise or notice two watches off to the left of me, or right, depending on how this is reversed, I don't know. Just over here, we've got two awesome Habering Time Zone limited editions from 2015-16 respectively, limited to 20 and 21 total respectively again. Again, one or two of those may have already gone by now, but if not, go check our Instagram, send us a message or email us at info@gibblewatches. These won't last. These are incredibly rare and a lot of people are after them, including other watch dealers, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, now before we get onto the watches on the table, what is on wrist? I'm wearing my Fears Brunswick Brown, and this is my personal 1 of 5. Absolutely love this watch, wearing it on my Strap Taylor suede strap, which you can purchase at Gibble Watches as well. This is like my perfect watch. I love it. I wear it a lot, as a lot of you guys and girls know. And it's kind of fitting because today we have 3 pre-owned Fears to bring to the website. Now, for those of you who've been following the brand, you'll know that Fears haven't come up for resale in terms of modern Fears, whereas vintage Fears are, but modern Fears haven't. As the authorised seller here in London for Fears, we thought we would curate a offering of vintage, pre-owned Fears, not vintage, sorry, and bring them to the website and to you guys and girls. We thought this would be the best way to do it. So we have these 3 awesome pieces, and we potentially have 1 or 2 more coming at a later date as well, so keep an eye out for those. And the best part is, the blue is discontinued. You can't get it anymore, but we'll take a closer look and talk about that in a sec. Now, let's dive into the watches, shall we? Where to begin? I think we're going to have to start with the one that's probably catching all your guys and girls' attention, and that is the Resence. I keep calling it Resonance. I'm going to make sure I don't. It is the Resence Hodinkee edition. Let's take a closer look at this absolutely incredible watch. What a way to start this week off. I mean, have a look at this. This is incredible. So this is the Resence and Hodinkee collaboration they did back in 2017, limited to 20 pieces worldwide. One of these hasn't come up for sale in quite a while, so it's very interesting to actually have this one in stock. And to be honest, I don't know if it will last. Yes, the price isn't cheap, but again, it is one of those watches where you can really say, find another. And with 20 in the world total, and this being a true collector's piece, it's very, very difficult. Now, you might be looking at this saying, well, there's no crown. How does this all work? So let's talk you all through it. So let's start with how you actually tell the time. You have the running seconds over here, as you can see, not to be mistaken with the dial up here, which is actually the day, sorry. So you can see right now it's about to switch over to Sunday. Saturday and Sunday aren't highlighted, so that's how you can tell which day is what. So right now we are actually at 9:49 PM, as you can see, and that's indicated by the fact we're almost into Sunday, which obviously would then make it AM. So as you probably just figured out by what I said, this is the hour dial, and this center part is the minutes. So everything rotates as you use it. Now this is going to be very difficult to demonstrate because obviously there is no crown, as you can see. And as we flip it over, you'll see that it's got a guide on how to actually change the time. So winding this case back this way winds the watch. Going this way is how you change the date. And then both ways is what changes the time. Now, what is that doing on the other side? Let me see if I can show you this the best way. There you go. So this is very difficult to show because it's quite difficult to showcase like this. But there you go. You can see as we're going round, we are now at 10:15. And we keep going and going. We're now 10:30. And you can see how that works and how the time works and everything changes. So the whole thing moves as you read the time and as the day progresses. This is really, really cool. It's really unique. It's a very different way of telling time. This is not just a standard watch you'd buy just to tell time. This is something you buy because you are that into watches. You're into what Resence do. You're into Hodinkee, whatever it may be. This is a gorgeous watch and one of very few skeletons they have ever done. This isn't the only skeleton they've done. They've definitely done a few others, but this is one of the first, being the Hodinkee limited edition. As I say, 20 in the world. And this is from May 2017 with everything. It's box, papers, even a frisbee. And I'm not joking. Head over to the website. There is a frisbee included with this. It's absolutely bonkers. But let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go. This is the watch on my sort of nearly 7-inch wrist to give a good perspective. It is 41.5mm by 49.5mm lug to lug. Only 11.5mm thick, which is incredibly surprising considering the complication in this watch, and 20mm lug. So endless options. It does come with a few additional straps, including an additional Hodinkee strap. Most of them are worn apart from this strap. You can see it's been put on for photography in the video, but other than that, it is an unworn strap. So you're getting yourself some nice options. So go check this one out on the website. I guarantee you will not see another for a very long time. From there, we're going to move to its right. Again, maybe your left. I really don't know which way this flips, but let's have a closer look at this awesome Breitling Transocean. So something quite a bit different from the Resence. This is a Breitling Transocean Unitimer chronograph, and it's quite an interesting piece. So as you can see, you've got a traditional chronograph in there, and then you've got a lot going on around the outside. You've got an inner timer as well. You've got an outer time zone indicator, and as you change the time, we'll show you, this is not a screw down crown by the way, but as you change the time you can see that inner rotating bezel moves. And interestingly, to change the date and also the inner bezel, when you pull it out one click, you can then change it like so. Everything jumps around. So this is a very interesting way of showcasing different time zones, changing the time, everything like that. And inside this is an automatic Breitling B05 movement. You can see the watch comes on its bracelet, which is on the wrong way at the moment. We will switch that round before shipping. Wow, I really can't English today. But there you go. You can see the case back as well. Really, really interesting. The reference to this one is AB0510U4, and this one's from May 2014. It does come with its box and papers. It is in worn condition, but it's in very good condition. So you'll be rest assured you're getting yourself a good looking watch, and you're saving yourself a fair chunk of money compared to a lot of the variants out there on the market of this exact watch. And this one, most importantly, comes with the original Breitling bracelet as opposed to just the strap. So that's something to keep in mind in terms of price differences. But let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here it is on my nearly 7-inch wrist. This is no small watch, so do not be buying this if you have a tiny wrist and you don't like big watches, because this is 46mm by 56mm lug to lug. This has to be one of the biggest watches we've had in so far. 14.5mm thick and 23mm lug, so a little bit awkward on that lug length, but Breitling do offer some fantastic strap options, so I would highly consider those if you are looking for a leather strap for this watch instead of just the bracelet. But a great watch, go check it out on the website right now. From a very large watch to something that's much more wearable for most people, let's take a look at this IWC Portuguese. Next up is a fantastic offering by IWC, and I think these are brilliant, especially when you see the price we are selling this for. I think there is undeniable value in this watch. This is the IWC Portuguese chronograph, or Portuguesa as a lot of people call it. You have the two registers right there, seconds down at the bottom, and obviously it is a chronograph with a 30-minute calculator, timer, whatever you want to call it, up there at the top. Start, stop, reset, as you'd expect. Traditional IWC sign crown and closed case back as well. beautifully finished and really nice condition. This is in worn condition, but it's in very, very good condition. Nice original strap and buckle, as you'd expect. And this is the reference IW371401, and inside is the automatic IWC caliber 79350. And this one is from December 2010 with its full box and paperwork. And you can see condition is very, very good, and it's a gorgeous looking watch. I like what the IWC Portuguese has always been and always done, and I think it's a very historically important model that a lot of people don't realize the history on. So go check it out on our website. We have the history right up there as well. And also do some of your own investigating. I think that's the fun of watches, looking around and finding out little information and nuances and where this model really started, because it may surprise a lot of you. It was nothing like what it is today. But let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. Here we go on my wrist. This wears absolutely beautifully. I think it sits so well. It's 40.5mm by 48mm lug to lug. So very, very well proportioned and well sized for a watch like this. Only 12mm thick and 20mm lugs. So endless options on straps if you want to swap out this original one it is currently on. But thanks to that sort of white and gold, you really could pair it with so many different options and it would look fantastic. Pair it on a nice black alligator, you've got yourself a really dressy watch, and obviously tone it down with the brown, you've got something you can wear with t-shirt and jeans quite comfortably. From there, let's go over to the Fears. Let's have a close look at these three. We're going to start with the Fears Archival 1930 small seconds. Now we're on to a very special Fears. This is the Fears Archival 1930 small seconds. And as you can see, the reason it's called the 1930 small seconds is because it has small seconds. It doesn't have 1930. It has small seconds, and the design is based on a 1930s model from the Fears archive. Now Fears, for those of you who don't know, are a brand who are the second oldest watch brand in the UK, which is absolutely fascinating. And Nicholas Beaumont Scargill has brought it back to life. He's actual blood relatives down the line from the original founders of Fears, which is absolutely fascinating. Now in terms of the way this dial has been produced, you can see it looks incredible. You have that beautiful gold gilded ring around the outside, that creamy finish to the dial, the blued hands and the sub-seconds. It works so well, and it looks like a vintage watch but brought to modern reliability and proportions. But this is where it gets really interesting. As we flip it over on this beautifully curved caseback, which slopes the wrist very, very well, inside here is a manually wound ETA 717. Now you might be wondering, what is that? I've never heard of that. Well, a 717 is actually a original vintage movement that Nicholas and the team at Fears sourced and basically rebuilt from the ground up to put in these watches. So not only do you have vintage design, you actually have a vintage movement that has been brought back to life and brought to modern sustainability and reliability, which is absolutely fascinating. Beautiful crown right there, signed as you'd expect, and incredible finishing across the case. And that case is so well proportioned. We'll show it on wrist, but just before we do, I want to actually put it next to the Cartier Tank Must to give you an idea of size and proportion. So a lot of people, well not a lot of people, but a few people suggest that this is maybe too small for them. Whereas as you can see here, these two next to each other, the Fears is actually longer. It might be a bit thinner in terms of the width, but it is longer, so it actually wears beautifully on the wrist, as does the Cartier, but this is a very different kind of feeling on the wrist, and definitely more true to a vintage tank style watch in terms of rectangular. But let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my wrist. As you can see, it just wears so well. And I forgot to mention, this is from August 2021. It does come with its box and paperwork, paired on its original oxblood red strap, which looks absolutely beautiful. And the watch is in fantastic condition, as you'd expect. 22mm by 40mm lug to lug, only 9mm thick and 20mm lugs. It was a very difficult task for Nicholas to have made this 20mm, as you can see with how thin these lugs are, and with push holes as well. Absolutely brilliant, beautifully designed, fits the wrist like a glove. I think this is a great option for anyone looking for a rectangle watch. So head over to the website and check it out. From there to one of my favourite Fears Brunswicks, beside obviously the best one, which is the brown. We're going to take a look at the Fears Brunswick Blue. So now on to the Fears Brunswick Blue. I absolutely love this watch, and I mean, it's no secret, I'm a huge fan of the Brunswick line, because there's my Brunswick brown. But the blue has always been a big favourite of mine, as well as the salmon, but I think the blue sort of just takes the edge for me over the salmon. with that beautiful galvanic blue dial with the multiple textures and the hollowed out hands, the applied indices and the appliques as he calls them, beautiful sub-seconds down there. This is just a very good looking watch, and based on a vintage sterling silver watch that Fears made back in the day as well. So true history and heritage to this Brunswick line and the case shape. A lot of people suggest, you know, it's kind of like a smaller Panerai. Well, in actual fact, Nicholas and, well, not Nicholas, but the Fears of that age made the cushion case along with many other brands way before Panerai or Rolex ever did, because Rolex used to make the cases for Panerai. So interesting history right there. Now, this Brunswick Blue is discontinued. There is no longer any available new at retail from Fears or any stockists. So that means this is going to be one of probably only a few that will ever come up for resale, which is kind of exciting. If you missed the boat on the Brunswick Blue, now's your chance. Do not wait on this opportunity, because who knows when another one will reappear. As we flip it over, you can see that is a manually wound ETA 7001 inside, which is based on an older Pesa movement, also known as a 7001. Very reliable workhorse movement that has been used for years and across multiple brands, and rightfully so. You know, it's very well decorated, and they have their Pipettes logo, which is an icon of Fears, and beautifully done. So this one is from July 2021. Of course, it comes with its box and paperwork and is in fantastic condition, as you can see, paired on the Bristol blue tan leather strap, which is absolutely beautiful. But let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on wrist. It's going to be no surprise I'm going to speak very highly of how this wears, because I absolutely love mine, and it's the exact same dimensions. So what you're looking at is 38mm by 43mm lug to lug. As a cushion case, it does wear slightly bigger. That's something to keep in mind, but it still wears beautifully. 11.5mm thick and 20mm lugs. Endless options, whether that be from Fears directly or any other strap maker you prefer. There are endless options, and this watch, personally, I think looks the best on the blue. I would keep it on this. I think it just looks absolutely brilliant. So go check this one out on the website and pick it up before you miss your opportunity again to own a Fears Brunswick Blue. From there to a super interesting Fears watch. This is the Fears Streamline, which was one of the final quartz watches they ever made. So let's take a closer look. So next is the Fears Redcliff Streamline. Now, Redcliff is a street in Bristol, and Bristol is where Fears was originally established. So it's kind of cool that you've got these references to their history, you know, with the Redcliff. The Brunswick is Brunswick Square in Bristol. And the Streamline is the final quartz watch they ever produced. So Fears, when they restarted, they started off in a much more affordable price range with quartz. You know, I think that's a very logical way to start the business again and sort of build the brand, and now they're producing what they are, and it's incredible to see. But this was sort of the farewell to the quartz Ronda movements that they were using, Ronda 515 to be precise, and they did a limited edition of 100 pieces. Now, they're not numbered, but there are only 100 ever made in this model, and interestingly, they priced it at the exact same price that the original Streamline, as it was called, was priced back in the 60s or 70s, just accounted for inflation. So this, when it came out, I believe was around £474. I could be wrong of the exact price, but it was a very, very well priced product because it was priced exactly the same as it was all those years ago, which is a really cool thing. And Nicholas over at Fears often does these very interesting and sort of unique ways of showcasing new products and doing things a little bit differently, which is nice to see. You have that beautifully grained dial, which just glows with the light and those numerals. You have the filled-in loom hands, vibrant red seconds hand, and a date over there as well. And the case is beautifully finished. I really like how the Redcliff wear. I think that's a good looking watch and sits very, very nicely. Highly polished case back and paired on its original goat's leather strap, which looks fantastic as well. This one is from August 2021, and it does come with its box and paperwork, as you'd expect. But let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. Here we go on wrist. My father actually owns this exact watch as well. I think it's really, really cool. I gifted it to him a little while ago, and I've always really liked it in terms of the quartz offerings that Fears did. So this is 38mm by 44.5mm lug to lug, only 8mm thick, so super thin on the wrist, and 20mm lugs. Again, endless options to choose from. However, I think this pairing works beautifully beautifully. So go check it out on the website now and pick it up again before you probably won't be able to get another one for a very long time. Now onto a watch that is probably already sold, so you probably won't be able to get it, but if you want one, let me know, we might be able to find you one. This is the Cartier Tank Must in green. So next up is the Cartier Tank Must, which is basically Cartier's re-edition of the old musty Cartier tanks from back in the day. They were beautiful watches, usually gilded, so they were sterling silver cases with a gilt finish or gold plating over the top, often a bit smaller size and a bit more affordable with a quartz movement as well. So it's very interesting that they've reintroduced this line with fantastic colorways of the green, the red and the blue. And this is probably sold, and if it is, it's probably sold to the gentleman who has bought the other colours off me previously for him and his wife to enjoy. So now he has the complete set that we would have sourced him, which is really cool. So congratulations to you, who I think is probably going to buy it. So I apologise if I'm showing you this and you can't actually get it. But as I say, I'm always on the lookout for these, so you never know, we may get another one. But the reference to this one is the WST80056. Inside is a Swiss quartz movement, and this one is from December 2021, basically brand new and worn. Maybe been worn once or twice, but still has the stickers, and everything's in fantastic condition. And the green is brilliant. Personally, my favourite was surprisingly the red. I thought it would have been the blue, but the red was my favourite, and this green is brilliant as well. Obviously, you have the blue sapphire there on the crown, as you'd expect with Cartier, and beautiful Cartier buckle as well. I absolutely love this watch, but let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. Here we go. As to not crease the strap anymore for the new owner, I'm going to rest it on wrist, and you can see it wears very well. It's definitely a smaller size Cartier, and I think a lot of people don't quite realize that with this model. It's not a bigger watch. It wears traditional, which I personally love, but I know not everyone will. But it's 25.5mm by 33.5mm lug to lug, only 7mm thick, so super thin on the wrist, and 18mm lugs. Endless options, but I think the green is the way you've got to go. And interestingly, quick release as well from Cartier, so they are definitely going down that route, which is great to see. So go check this one out on the website, even if it's just for the photos, because it's a good looking watch. Now on to something that is built like a tank. There is no denying that. That is the Seiko Marine Master in blue. Let's have a closer look at this beast. Next up, we have a fantastic offering from Seiko in their SLA lineup. This is the SLA 023 from Seiko in blue, and it looks absolutely brilliant. I love this watch. It is built like a tank. It is thick, it is heavy, it's hefty, but it wears really well, and we'll talk about that when it goes on wrist. The one thing I do wish was better was the bracelet, but that's something you're going to hear a lot from people who own Seiko, so it's no surprise. Interestingly, this does come with a rubber strap as well that was added later, the correct Seiko blue rubber, so you've got that option as well, and I think it looks brilliant on that pairing. This one is from March 2021. It does come with its full box and paperwork, all spare links as you'd expect, and this is inside here the automatic Seiko 8L35. Now that case back does not come off, as you can see. It is a monocoque case, meaning made of one piece, which is really interesting that Seiko go down that route with this model, and it all helps with water resistance, which, as you can imagine, is kind of the goal and focus of the SLA range. Absolutely awesome piece, but let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on wrist. So as you can see, that is 44mm by 50mm lug to lug, 15mm thick and 20mm lugs. So it is a big beast, but it wears so well, even though it is thick. You're definitely not going to be putting a cuff over that, but it's comfortable. And it surprises me every time we get one of these in. I look at it and I think there's no way in hell I'd ever be able to wear that. And then I put it on and I'm like, you know what? I actually can. And I think it will surprise a lot of you guys and girls out there as well. So don't be afraid. Pick this beauty up and enjoy it. From there to something that is now considered neo-vintage. It's crazy to think 1990s is neo-vintage. Let's have a look at this 90s JLC with steel and gold. So next up we have a very good looking, super simple, clean offering from Jaeger-LeCoultre. Yeah, I said it like that, everyone's gonna cry. Jaeger-LeCoultre, however you want to say it. JLC, just say JLC. There you go, much easier. This is the Heroine line. I've probably absolutely butchered that as well, because you know that's just what I do here at Kibble Watches. I like to butcher pronunciations of words, but this is a range that they did in the 1990s. They had chronograph options, they had simple two-handers like this, they even had full gold options, and this one features a 18 karat gold crown and bezel, which is very beautiful, and obviously in stainless steel. You can see case back there with the screws as you'd expect, This is a reference 112.5.09. Inside this is an ultra thin JLC quartz movement, and by ultra thin this is 5mm thick, so it is truly ultra thin. Paired on a beautiful strap, as you can see, with original buckle. The strap isn't original JLC, but it is a original crocodile, and it just looks fantastic. This is a great option for him or her looking for a very dressy, simple, classy piece, and something that really goes under the radar, but when someone notices what it is, I think it's definitely going to be a talking point, because it's not just another small brand doing a very clean design. You know, I think that's what makes this so interesting. But let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. Here we go on wrist, absolutely elegant at 33mm by 39mm lug to lug. As I said, only 5mm thin, so this is going to slip under any cuff you need it to go under, and 18mm lug, so endless options there. However, I think this pairing looks very good. It goes with the watch, it dresses it up whilst also making it very casual to wear with t-shirt and jeans. And yes, I think you can wear this with t-shirt and jeans. I don't think you should be shy, so go check this one out on the website. It is surprisingly affordable, and I think a lot of you will be very blown away by the fact that you can get a true GLC at this kind of price. Now from there to something that is again super interesting, you don't see often, especially sold by dealers. This is a Meistersinger. Let's have a closer look. Next is a watch we had in the past, and I think it looks absolutely awesome. A very unique way again of telling time. You have, and let's go through this. So this is the Meistersinger Classic Plus Metris Blue, the reference ME908, and it was a special edition that sold out pretty quick from Meistersinger. Inside is an automatic ETA 2824-2, but heavily modified to be able to tell the time in this way. So let's explain it, shall we? You have 12 hours across the dial. Now as we pull out all the way, we start moving. Let's go past 12 and see whether we're in AM or PM. We're in AM now. So now we're at 1 AM, 1:15, 1:30, 1:45, 2, and so on and so forth. I feel like I need a Jaffa Cake, like that Jaffa Cake advert with the half moon, full moon. If you haven't seen that, go watch it. It's hilarious. Anyway, back to watches. That's the way you tell the time. A very unique way of doing it. Certainly not a watch that if you're in a rush to know what the time is, you're not going to look down on this and go, oh, well, that's the time. Unless you're so used to telling the time on this, it will take you a minute or two to figure it out, in my opinion. But a very cool watch. Meistersinger do this kind of thing a lot, and it's what they're known for, and I think it's what makes them really cool. And if you didn't figure, that is the date down there with a mini Cyclops over the crystal. Screw down signed crown as you'd expect, and screw down case back housing that movement we just mentioned. And this is the original strap, almost like denim, with a clasp as well, signed clasp. A good looking watch, and this is from April 2020 with its full box and paperwork. But let's show on wrist and talk dimensions. Here we go on wrist. I think the case shape makes it wear so uniquely. At 39mm by 45mm lug to lug, only 11mm thick, surprisingly thin for this, and 20mm lug, so endless options if you're not a fan of this strap. I think it looks really good, and I think it really suits the watch, so go check it out on the website. And last but certainly not least, one I'm very excited to bring you, that is this new old stock Zenith Santos, as I call it, and you'll see why when we have a closer look, from the 1980s. Let's take a closer look. Okay, so the final watch, and it is definitely one of the coolest in my opinion of today, which is mad because we have had some incredible watches, including this. I mean, who else can put these two watches next to each other and offer them both for sale? I think that is what we are doing right here. Whilst not everyone will agree, that is okay. We can't please everyone, and you know what? I have so much fun doing this, and I wouldn't change it for anything. This is the Zenith Santos quartz, as I've called it, because it kind of looks like a Cartier Santos, and obviously that's what they were going for as well, whether they'd admit it or not. Now the dial is very difficult to pinpoint what it actually is. I think it's a very dark navy blue, but in some lights it definitely looks black, in some lights it looks more blue, so it's kind of interesting. You've got the gold on the inside, the gold hands, the gold bezel. This isn't solid gold, do keep that in mind, and a gold crown as well. And you can see there's still remnants of the sticker on the case back with the red. So this would have to come off if you wanted to, or it would come off anyway from wearing regularly. The reference to this one is 03.0010.116, and inside here is a quartz Zenith /Movado caliber 11.5. Now the reason for Zenith /Movado is because at this period in time, the 70s and 80s, they partnered together and they did a lot of things together. You'll often see Movados with Zenith calibers, such as Movados with the Zenith El Primero, and vice versa. It wasn't uncommon at that time. This is the original bracelet, as you can see, with this awesome hex finish, which just looks really cool and futuristic. I think this is a very well designed watch, and it's from the circa 1980s. It is in new old stock condition. Any marks you see will be from storage over the years, because you've got to think this has been sat in storage over 40 years now. I mean, that is insane to think 1980s is around 40 years ago. That's crazy. But let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it does come with a swing tag as well, which is really cool. And the clasp can move up, so you can make it fit you. You lift up that flap, you move it up, push it down, and then you just do it until you get the right size. But there you go on my wrist. What a cool looking watch. This is 33mm by 39mm lug to lug. Only, 32mm by 37mm lug to lug. I was looking at the wrong one. 6.5mm thick and 18mm lugs. So you can actually, if you find a strap that would fit, you could swap it out for a strap. I don't know why you would though. I think this needs to be on the bracelet. It looks so cool. And for those of you who've been following for a while, you may remember a load of new old stock Zeniths I had. God, it would have been December 2020, I think. And, you know, very lucky to have found another one from the same person that we bought the other ones off. He actually kept a few for himself, so we've managed to wraggle this one from his hands, and hopefully we'll get the rest at some point if there are any more. But what a cool watch. Go check it out on the website. So there you have it, guys and girls. That is this week's drop. Again, another incredibly varied drop. You know, to think we've got this kind of variety in one single week is incredible. And we are already at this point, bearing in mind we're doing this a week in advance, we're already building the following drop and potentially even working on the next drop, which is so exciting and a great position to be in. And as always, it's thanks to you guys and girls, for you guys and girls bringing me your watches to sell, to consign, to purchase, whatever it is you're doing. I really appreciate the support. Even if you just watch these videos or just sort of linger behind the scenes on our Instagram, it really does mean a lot. So thank you very much, and I hope you're as excited for what this year is going to bring Kibble Watches as we are. But we look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. Take care.